'Tis the season. Well, almost. But let's make some gingerbread cookies anyway. Now, I'm going to start by letting you know this recipe will come in two parts. You have to prepare all the stuff, then it's got to sit for at least 3 hours, if not overnight. So plan this out in advance. You're going to need either all day or 2 different days to do it. But let's begin. Okay, so we're going to start off with our dry ingredients here. So this is going to be mostly based on almond flour. So I'm going to start with 2 cups of almond flour. But because this is gingerbread, we're going to season this up really well. So baking soda, xanthan gum, cinnamon, of course, ginger, ground ginger that is, ground cloves and nutmeg, and a little salt and pepper. And we're going to mix this all together really well. So now we're going to get to our butter in the mixer here. Now you could do this by hand or with a hand mixer, but I like my stand mixer here. So we're going to start creaming our butter and adding 2/3 cup of golden monk fruit sweetener. We're going to cream this together really well. Give it a good 8 minutes or so to really cream. The sugar and the butter's well creamed. We're going to add a single egg until it's just incorporated. Doesn't need to be fully mixed in there. Okay, now the eggs incorporated, I'm going to start adding my flour mixture. We're going to do this on slow. We're going to do it in parts. Now we're done mixing. We're going to take our dough, and it's going to be very handleable. Plop it onto a big piece of cling wrap. Wrap it up and into the fridge at least 3 hours, if not overnight. Okay, so I have my dough here. It's been sitting in the fridge overnight at least. I actually have had this in the fridge for a couple days because somehow I got a life in it. I got busy. So now it's time to roll this out. We're aiming for about 1/4 inch thick on this, but you could vary that depending how you like your cookie. If you want a softer, moist cookie, you could go a little thicker. If you want something a little crunchier, you could go a little thinner. So the best way of doing this, place your dough onto a piece of parchment, take a second piece of parchment there, and roll away. So here we go. I got this right around 1/4 inch thick or so. And I got my cookie cutter here. This one's a little bare. I'm going to insist that it's a little bare. No, do whatever you want. It's a cookie cutter. They have to be fun. We're going to cut out our little designs. And then place it onto our sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it. Once you used all the space you have, go ahead and layer everything back together, fold it together, roll it back smooth again, and keep cutting until you run out of stuff to cut. Okay, here we go. I made 12 little bears here. Of course, depending on your thickness, what design you use, all of that will greatly vary what you make or how many you make. I'm going to take these, I'm going to throw them in my freezer for about 10 minutes, then into a 350 degree oven. Okay, so I took them out of the freezer. I threw this pan into that piping warm oven of 350 degrees. Recipe calls for 10 to 20 minutes. I went full 20 minutes on these. I like my gingerbread cookies to have a little bit more crisp on them. It also says to look for a full brown, golden brown on there. And I got that, I probably got that about 15 minutes in. I wanted to go a little bit longer to get the crispiness. Now, if you were to touch these right now, they'd absolutely fall apart. They're still very soft. So before even moving to a cooling rack, I'm going to give them 10 minutes to cool down. Then I'm going to throw in my cooling rack and give them overnight at least to come to a full cool until these are going to be ready to eat. Now, one thing about these cookies, as I found with a lot of keto recipes, is when you give it a full day, the sweetness and flavor tends to come out a little bit more. I don't know why, but that just seems to be what happens. So I'm actually not going to touch these at all, besides moving them to a cooling rack for another day. Then I'm going to eat them and share them and probably end up hoarding them because I really love this recipe, and it's now the holiday season, so I can do that without feeling guilty. So I hope you love this recipe. I hope you give it a try. Please, if you do, let me know. Let me know what you think. And if you want me to try something out, or if you want a specific recipe that you'd like me to test out, or a type of recipe, please let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, like, all that normal YouTube stuff, and I'll see you on the next video.